Assalamualaikum and a very good day. So my name is Aida. So today I'll present to you our video assignment 2, and I'll be talking about section A, B, C and D. So now we start with choosing the library that we want to use. So this is the libraries: Stream, Fstream and Assigment. Then we proceed to the user namespace, std, and then we identify the global variable declaration to write out into text file. So off stream is where we write on a file, and if stream is where we read from a file. So next is integer main, and this is when we want to open a new file named tdb2413 underscore report to see all the outcomes, the outputs. Then we move on to section A. So if stream file is when we want to read the values that come from tdb2413.txt, and then we declare all the variables such as floats, and also such as float only for this section. And then if my file, which is the output file, is open, so while there's no file is at end of file, this is not at the end of the file, we start the program, and this file indicates the values that we want to take to calculate. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then the formula is H times 2, and this is the if that we want to identify from which category does the marks join, and if the file is end of file, it will break, and the outputs are put in the my file as percentage of students who got A, B, C, F, and these are the formally used to get the percentage of how many people that got A, B, C and F. Then else cout is when there are no values that we want to count. Next, we move on to the section B. So first we read the value, same as section A, and the variables are float and char, which is character. Then if the my file is open, it will show you my file grading category, which is the question that we have answered for section B. And then if it's not at the end of the file, we proceed with all the calculations, and this is the formula for section B: C plus D plus E plus F plus G plus H. And then we do this if also to categorize them in each different grades, and this is the output for the output file, and this is for the output of program. And if the file is at end of file, it will break and stop. So next is section C. So we open TDB to get all the values, and these are all the variables to declare. And if my file is open, my file will show you the students who undergone intervention, and also at the while file is not at the end of file, all the formulas are also used here: C plus D plus E plus F plus G plus H. So if the mark is less than 60, so the students will undergo intervention, but when the file is at end of file, the students are not gonna undergo intervention and it will break. And the last part for this section, it will show you the outcome of number of students who obtain the mark below than 60. And then if there's nothing else is done, it will put unable to open file. And the last section would be finding the mean, variance, median, etc. So we have to read from the TDB 2413 to obtain all the values. This is the variables that we declare. And we start with the while. If the file is not at an end of file, these are the formulas for the total of test 1, total test 2, total square root, which is the total sum of squares for test 1, and total square root 7 for test 2. And counter 6 and counter 7 is the number of students, number of rows. Then we go to the mean to find the mean. So these are all the variables needed, and these are the formulas. Next is the standard deviation variables, and these are the formulas for the standard deviation. And we continue on finding the median. So to find the median, we have to identify the odd number or even number first. So these are the variables that we have to declare, and here is the formula to get which is the odd number and which is the even number. So for odd number, if we can be if it is divided by 2 and shows a remainder, it is an odd number. But if it can be divided by 2, it must subtract with 1. And the output will show the amount of counter 6. Okay, so this is for the test 2 and this is for test 1. So for test 2 is the same thing, and it will show the amount of counter 7 has to skip is. Then after we have identified the odd and even number, now I am going to continue with the findings of median for odd and even number, which have their own different formulas. So first is for test 1. So while counter skip test 1 is not equals to 0, we use the file f to obtain the value, and then the increment will be decreasing. So for odd number, we use file f, and then when the counter 6 is the number of students divided by 2 and have remainder, median for test 1 is equals to f. Else, if the median test 1 equals to f, file use is f to obtain the value, and median for test 1 is median test 1 plus f divided by 2 is for even number. So next is test 2. So for test 2, while counter skip 7 is not equals to 0, we use the file g to obtain the value, and the increment is also going to be decreasing. So for odd number, we use g value to get the value, and counter 7, the total number of students divided by 2 is have remainder 1. So median test 2 will be equals to g. Else, for even number, median 7 equals to g. File g is used to obtain the value. So median test 2 equals to median test 2 plus g divided by 2. And then after we get all the medians for even and also odd numbers, file.close. Then we open back our output file. My file is open, and the outcome for them are the mean for test 1, mean for test 2, median for test 1 and 2, standard deviation for test 1 and 2, and LC out, enable to open file. So now I will show you the file. So as we can see, the file is the C++ code and also the text file given. Now I'll compile and run to obtain the report. So we have to wait for a while, and these are all the program that is shown. And now I will be explaining on the report. As we can see, this is the report we can explain. This is the recommender. So we can see here the percentage of students for A, B, C and F is stated here. And then this is for section A. For section B, the grading category, they have been graded according to the grades and also their ID and marks for section B. And for section C is to see students who undergone intervention. So they state all the students, and number of students who obtain below than 60 is 9 people. So these are all who will be joining the interventions. And last, for section D is the mean, median and standard deviation. So as we can see, these are the values given. So now I will give to Nadia to proceed with section section E, F, G. Thank you.
Next is to execute the while loop if the value of counter skip 7 is not equal to 0, so that the iteration will take place. So there's still an if statement that needs to be executed here. So if the value of the marks produce odd number, the number will be used as a median. And then for the here's the coding for the calculation of mean. And then we close the file, and then after that we use this method to like see out for files. So here is the mean for test 1, mean for test 2, median for test 1, median for test 2, standard deviation for test 1, standard deviation for test 2. So yeah, that's the coding. So for question E, is for the students who scored more than 40% of total coursework. If not, they will be barred from taking the final exam. So we also need to list down the student. First thing first, here's what I do. And then I put an if statement here for the mark. And then I open the file, and then I see out the number of students who obtain mark below 40. And then I see out into the file the number of students who obtain the mark below than 40. So here is the value. So here is the value from the text file. As you can see, this is the ID number, and this is these are their coursework mark, which is under 40. And they also list down the number of students who obtained mark below 40. There's around 95 students who did not who weren't able to obtain mark above than 40. So next question, question F is for students who did not do any assessment. They will get 0. From there, identification is needed. So we need to identify and then list down students who did not do any assessment. So here's what I do. Here's what I did. From there, I open file, and then I see out all these values. And then I use a while if loop to execute the question. And then from there, I execute this one as well to just show the person who did not do any assessment. So here's the end of the question from here. So next, so right after I execute the program, here's what I get. So for any assessment for assignment mark, so there's no one that did not do any assessment, bravo for that. So for lab exercise, there's 2 persons who did not do their lab, so they will eventually get 0. So assessment for project mark, there's 2 persons who did not do. This is their metric ID. And then for test 1, there's no one did not do their test, bravo for that. But then for test 2, there are 2 persons who did not do their tests. So here is the outcome of the question. So next is The last question is for the recommender file to help students to set a target to achieve a remarkable result. So here's my coding on the last question. So next I will show you the outcome of the coding. So this is the outcome of the coding. So from here there's a list of ID of students and their previous mark, and then here's their target that they need to achieve in order to get a remarkable result. So from here, thank you.